Hello and welcome to Crazy Math Productions. Today we're going to be looking at Section 5-2. We're writing linear equations given a slope and a point. Again, the point of this chapter is that we are looking at changing some random information, either a slope and a point, or we could have 2 points, or we could have any various combination. You'll have a point, slope, intercept, or multiple combinations of those. So what we're going to do is we're trying to finally get an equation. That's the end goal of what we're doing. Today we're going to be given a slope and a point. Now I discussed in the last video that there are two major things that we're supposed to do. I call them clues, as in a clue, but it's sort of like a I discussed in the earlier video that I used to watch a Garfield where he was trying to be French, so he would say a clue. So our two major clues that we're looking for, we have a slope, which is the m, and we have a y-intercept, which is b. If I have both of those, it's very easy to get the slope-intercept form because I simply plug in for m and b. Being a detective and trying to find the slope and the y-intercept. Let's look at the first example. Write an equation of the line, passes through the given point, has the given slope. Now, remember, my two clues, looking for a clue. First one is m equals. Second one is b equals. Let's check and see what information they've given us. We see that m equals 4. Well, they don't tell me what b equals, but I do know that y equals mx plus b. So in the last video, they had given us the slope and the y-intercept directly. Now we're going to have to do a little bit more work. Now, if you're a detective and you're given some kind of an information here, we want to try to figure out what exactly to do with that. Now, this 8 and the 3, we could think of that as an x and a y. So how can we use an x, a y, and an m? Well, we could just plug it into this formula. Let's see what happens. 3 is y, m is 4, x is 8, and b, well, we don't know what that is. In fact, that's what we're trying to solve for. But at least now I have an equation that I can use to solve for b and find my other major clue. So 4 times 8 is 32. We're going to subtract 32 from both sides. We're going to get b equals negative 29. So, do I have my slope? Yes. Do I have my y-intercept? Now I do. However, I'm not finished until I plug it back in to y equals mx plus b. Y equals 4x. I could say plus a negative 29 or just minus 29. Again, I would accept both. It's probably better to see it in the form 4x minus 29. This could work, but this is a better solution there. Okay, and we're simply going to continue here. Again, my clues. Again, that's clue. We're looking for clues. We're a detective trying to solve a mystery here. And we do have the slope and the y-intercept that we're looking for. Let's see, m is negative 6, so that we already have. That's a major clue. And we also have the x and the y. Now, if you forget y equals mx plus b in this area, you are absolutely lost. There's no way you'll be able to figure out what's going on. So we're going to use this again. So plug in y is 25, m is negative 6, x is negative 5, and we don't know b, which is good actually, because we're going to use this equation to solve for b, and then we'll be ready to plug it in. So let's do it. Negative 6 times negative 5 is 30. We're going to subtract 30 from both sides. 25 minus 30 is negative 5, so b equals negative 5. Let's check. Do I have m? Yes. Do I have b, y-intercept? Yes. But I don't have my equation yet, so I have to finish it out. Y equals m, which is negative 6, x plus b plus a negative 5, or just minus 5. Again, this could work, but it's better to see it in the other form. Okay, and again, m equals b equals slope, y-intercept. Let's see what we have. We have the slope, which is 2/3. We don't yet have the y-intercept, so let's plug it in. Y equals mx plus b is the general form, the slope-intercept form. We're going to label x and y. So y, which is 7, equals m, which is 2/3, x, which is 6, plus b, and we don't know what b is, but we're going to solve. Now, we can put 6 over 1, multiply across. 6 times 2 is 12, 3 times 1 is 3, 12 divided by 3 is 4. Or there's a shortcut. Since 6 is divisible by 3, we could simply say 6 divided by 3 is 2, times 2 is 4. We can divide by the denominator and multiply by the numerator. Again, only if it's easily divisible. And subtract by 4. B equals 3. Now I have my slope. Now I have my y-intercept, and I can simply plug it in. Y equals 2/3 x plus 3. I have my two clues. Okay, and again, my clues that I'm looking for are the slope and the y-intercept. They give me the slope. The y-intercept I don't have, but I do have an x and a y. So y, which is 1, equals m, which is 3/4, x, which is 8, plus b. Again, the trick. Factor divided by the denominator, multiplied by the numerator. 8 divided by 4 is 2, times negative 3 is negative 6. We add 6 to both sides, and we end up with b equals 7. So we have the slope, the y-intercept is 7, and we're ready to go. Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 7. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, now switching gears here, what if we had a graphed line? Well, in this case, again, we have two clues, slope and y-intercept. In case you haven't noticed, I like to set this up because this is going to be true for any of these where I'm trying to get some random information, plug it in, and I just like to see the focus. What am I doing? I'm trying to write an equation. To write that equation, I'll need both the slope and the y-intercept. Now, looking at this one, I cannot exactly tell where that y-intercept is. So what I'm going to need to do is look at these 2 points. Those that are in my class, we know that we are going on a journey. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. And it doesn't matter which point I start from. Let's start from the bottom one and maybe go over. there's only one slope to a line, so it doesn't matter which way I go. Only thing that matters is that as we go, m equals, remember, rise over run. So it's very important that the vertical change goes on top and the horizontal change goes on the bottom. So in this case, I'm going to go up. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. Again, this is the positive direction. This is negative. This is the positive direction. This is negative. So I'm going to rise 4 blocks. That's positive 4. Then I'm going to go to the left. I've got 1, 2, 3 blocks to the left. So negative 3. Again, left is the negative direction on the x-axis. So we're going to go left, and that is 3 blocks. Now, is it negative 3 over 4 or 4 over negative 3? Remember, the rise, the vertical component, must go on top. Even though you can choose which way you want to go around this line, it's important that the vertical component goes on top. So positive 4 is my rise. I don't have to put the positive. Do not have to put the positive there. And my run is negative 3. So rise over run, we have negative 4/3. So first clue is down. Second one, now I don't have the y-intercept. It'd be very easy if we could see where it goes through the y-intercept here, but we don't, and we're not exactly sure, so we don't want to take a guess. We'd like to actually figure this out. Now I can very clearly see a point right here. This goes through a perfect grid intersection. By that I mean you can see where the line goes right through perfect grid intersection. Grid intersection is where these lines come together on the grid. Now this is the point 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to use that point 3, 3 as part of my information here. And I also know that m equals negative 4/3. So next, I'm going to label this x and y. I'm going to plug into the slope-intercept form, the general form, y equals mx plus b. And now I'm going to fill some things in. I know that y is 3, m is negative 4/3, x is 3. That would be my dryer. And here we go. So we're just going to solve for b. 3 divided by 3 is 1, times negative 4 is negative 4. We're going to add 4, and b equals 7. Now we can confirm that just to make sure that that sounds right by just looking on the graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's pretty reasonable. I probably wouldn't have guessed that, but that's reasonable. So b equals 7. Now, I'm not done yet. I have my slope, I have my y-intercept, my two major clues, and now I'm going to simply fill into the equation. Y equals m, which is negative 4/3, x plus b. Okay, one more on this page. We have example 6 here. Let's line up my major clues again. First clue or clue is the slope, m equals, and we also have b equals, the slope of the y-intercept. Now in this case, I actually can see what the y-intercept is, so might as well just go ahead and say what the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is negative 2. I also could find the slope. Now they've already given me 2 points, but I know that this is at a perfect grid intersection, so I can use this point. It's going to simplify the process. Now, we are going on a journey. We're going to go from one of these points to the other. Let's see. Let's start from the bottom dot and go to the top, the bottom point, and go to the top point here. We're going to go up 1, 2, 3 blocks. So this is positive 3. Since this is positive, this is negative. Again, on the x-axis, this is positive, and this is negative. We're going to rise 3. From here, we're going to go to the right which is positive 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. And don't forget, m equals the rise over the run, the change in the vertical coordinate over the change in the horizontal coordinate. The rise is positive 3, the run is positive 4. So my slope is 3/4. And here we go, we're going to plug this in. Y equals mx plus b. And it's probably better to keep this as, instead of plus a negative, keep it as minus 2. And that'll do it for our first page of problems. Let's keep going. Here we have some real-life models. Got 3 examples. Now these are some that you may want to pay special attention to because these really could be on the test. Hint, hint. Your softball team wants to buy new jerseys. To have the name of a team silk screened on the jersey costs an extra 5 cents per letter. Now watch for that word per. Sometimes that can really give you a hint there. The price of the jersey with the name Tigers printed on the front is $15.30. Find an equation that represents the price of the jersey Y in terms of the number of silk screened letters X. Now here's the thing. If you see a starting point for these word problems, if you see a starting point, that is usually B, the y-intercept. Now, as I look through this, okay, 5 cents per letter, price of the jersey Tigers, when it's $15.30. That doesn't fit any of these models. So this starting point, I don't see that in this model. Now, we also have a rate of change, or you could think of this as change over time. Now this is my traditional M for slope. When you get this concept of change over time, the rate of change, that is the slope. And as I look through here, an extra 5 cents per letter. So the more letters I get, the more expensive it's going to be. 5 cents for each one of those. That actually fits this. This is this 5 cents per letter. That's going to be my slope because it tells me how the cost of the silk screen jersey is going to change over time. So that's going to be my M. Now there's also a when this, then that. For example, when I buy 3 chips, 3 bags of chips, it costs $3. When I buy, for example, right here, when you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters, it costs $15.30. That's a perfect example. When this, then that. It's giving an ordered pair. That is an ordered pair. It's giving you an X, Y coordinate. Now the possibilities for these word problems are pretty substantial. You can go with, they could give you a starting point and a change over time. They could give you a rate of change and an ordered pair. They could give you an ordered pair and a y-intercept. There's many different combinations that you could choose here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our real-life model here and try to answer the question. Now, where's the question? Find an equation. And that's what I'm going to have to answer. There's nothing else that it tells me to do. If I find the equation, then I am done. Let's look at some of the information that we see. Softball team, great. Name of the team, cost an extra 5 cents per letter. That's important. That's very important. The price with the name Tigers is $15.30. That's also important. So we see 2 main things that they've given us here. First one is extra 5 cents per letter. Now again, starting point, 5 cents per letter, No. Rate of change or change over time? Yes. So M equals 5 cents. Name tigers, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters. It cost me $15.30. That's a win this, then that. That's an ordered pair. So what's the ordered pair? Well, number of silkscreen letters is X. Well, how many letters? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 letters, because it told me that was X. The price of the jersey is Y. So what does it cost? Cost $15.30. So I have an order pair and a slope. Now again, we're detective. We're looking for clues. What are my two clues? Well, I've got a slope and a y-intercept, M and B. Well, they gave me the slope. The change over time is 5 cents per liter. But they didn't tell me the starting point. They didn't tell me B, the y-intercept. So y equals mx plus b. I'm going to plug this in. Here's my x. Here's my y. $15.30 equals 5 cents per letter times x, which is 6, plus whatever this mysterious starting point is. Need to find that so that we can write our equation. Now, 6 nickels would be 30 cents. I'm going to subtract 30 cents from both sides. And B, my y-intercept, equals $15 even. Do I have my slope? Yes. Do I have my y-intercept? Yes, I have my two major clues. Now I simply have to plug them in. Y equals 500x plus 15. Now, they asked in a sentence. Normally, we would need to answer in a sentence. But since they're just asking for the equation, this mathematical sentence will do. They ask for anything applied, like what would be the cost of the jersey for 7 letters, something like that. Then you would need to actually write out the sentence. But since we just wanted the equation, this mathematical sentence will do. Okay, let's look at the second one. Between 1990 and 2000, the monthly rent for a one-bedroom apartment increased by $20 per year. Now again, not always, but a lot of times this is an important clue. Per is usually rate of change. So if you see this word per, most of the time it's going to lead to this slope. Not always, but a lot of times. Now let's see. We need clues, slope, and y-intercept. Let's see what the question is asking. That's very, very important. Find an equation. And looking through doesn't seem like they're asking for anything else. So we just need to find the equation. Now, between 1990 and 2000, why are they telling me this? Well, this is telling me the range about which these data values should be relevant. Once we get much past 2000, again, this might predict it, but it doesn't mean it's going to be very accurate because the data is going to change. You could extrapolate that data, but it's not necessarily going to be very accurate. So it's just telling me the range of the data. So for the purposes of our problem, it's not really that useful. The monthly rent for one-bedroom apartment, it's not very important. Increased by $20 per year. That's important. That's some important information. In 1997, the rent was $350 per month. Now, if I look back up, that looks like a classic win this, then that. In 1997, rent is $300, $350 per month. Now, again, I just told you per is important. But in this case, I can't have two slopes, so we're going to have to try to figure out exactly which one is which. Now let's take our information, our data, and make some information out of it, make something meaningful, useful out of it. $20 per year. It's increasing by $20 per year. See, this is a change over time. It's a rate. So this is definitely my slope. Why? Because it's changing every year. It's increasing by $20 per year. It's telling me over time what's happening. And that's a perfect description of what the slope should represent in a word problem. In 1997, the rent was $350. Now, see, $350 isn't changing. Now, you could argue it is over the month, but it's stagnant for this year. It's staying the same. In 1997, at that moment in time, it's $350 per month. So really, this isn't a change over time. It's just telling you at a given time what that value was. So this is not the y-intercept. It's not a slope. This is a data point. Now, I could put 1997 as the year t. Now, this is interesting. Do I put the 1997 in the back? Do I put it in the front? Where does it go? Does it go in behind or in front? Here's what you need. This in terms of. In terms of the year t, this after the in terms of is usually my x. What's in front of that is what I would normally think of as the y. So instead of thinking xy, now we're going to think td. Again, that may feel a little awkward, but really they're trying to give us a clue as to which one of these variables they want to use for x and for y, the traditional x and y values, the independent and the manipulated. So in 1997, now that's a time, year t. Now I could say 1997, and then $350 would be the rent. But the problem is they say let t equals 0 correspond to 1990. What that's doing is it's trying to give us much easier data values to work with. So t equals 0 is 1990. I want 1997, so we can just count. 1991, 1992, 1993, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So instead of 1997, we're just going to simply put 7. And that's just going to give us some much easier values to work with. Okay, so now we have 7, 350. We also knew that m equals 20. And now we're back to our traditional problem. Y equals mx plus b. This is x, this is y. Now we're going to plug in 350 for the y. 350 equals m times x, which is 7. Oops, we do have the slope. So 20 times 7 plus b, so excuse me. X is 7, m is 20, y is 350. Now, we can go ahead and solve, try to get b, so I'll have both of my major clues. 7 times 20 is 140. We're going to subtract 140. B equals, that's going to be 210. So I have my y-intercept, I have the slope, I have the y-intercept, I'm ready to go. Now, normally people would want to say y equals m, which is 20, x plus b, which is 210. But notice this exchange here. They're telling us they really don't want an x. They want a t. So where I see the t, where I see the x, I'm going to replace that with a t. Now, is it that important? Well, really it is. You need to answer the question that they're asking, not what you want to tell them. So we do need to replace the x with a t and the y with a d. And that's going to tell us our equation. Again, it said find an equation. That's all I was doing. So I can move on. Okay, between 1989 and 1996, again, that's telling me where my data is valid, where I can figure out what's going on fairly accurately. you added 15 stamps per year. Now, that looks like a change over time. It looks like something that's going on and changing over the years. So 15 stamps per year, that looks like some important information. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and say, as far as my clues, this is M. This is the slope, 15 stamps per year. In 1994, you had 130 stamps. Well, that sounds like when this, then that. When it's 1994, you have 130 stamps. So this is an ordered pair. It's not the y-intercept. 1994, 130 stamps. Now, it says let t equal 0 correspond to 1989. So you can just count 1989, don't count that one, 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94. So this really should be 5. Now, I just assumed that they should be in this order. Really, we need to confirm to make sure that this is in the correct order, 5, 130. In terms of, there's my in terms of. What's behind the in terms of is my x, and that would be my dog. Hold on. What's in front of it is the y value. So instead of having an x, y, we have t in. And so x, y, let's see. The year should go first. That's my x. And in fact, 1994, or the year 5 from 1999, that goes first. That's correct. Then the number of stamps should go next. 130. That does go next. So this is correct. This is correct. All right, now we've got M is 15. We've got our value here, 5, 130. And now we're simply going to plug this in. Y equals mx plus b. So y is 130. M is 15. X is 5. And b we're not sure about. We're going to solve for b so I can get my second major clue. 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 5 is 25. 50 plus 25 is 75. So we're going to subtract 75 from both sides. And let's see, subtract 5 is going to be 55. Yep. B equals 55. So I have my slope, I have my y-intercept, we have y equals mx plus b. M is 15, b is 55. But again, they don't want y and x. They want n, which corresponds to the y, and t, which corresponds to the x. And there's my equation. Now what I recommend is that you go through and pause, rewind the video as you need to be able to complete these problems. What you need to do is go to a point in the video where I am just starting the problem, pause the video, try the problem on your own and see if you can come up with the correct answer. Then play the video to see if you correctly answered the question. If you didn't, rewind the video, pause it again, try the problem, and continue this process, checking as you go to make sure that you've done it correctly. If you haven't, just rewind the video and pause it again to try to give it another shot. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Crazy Math Productions.